going to show you how to make a creamy squash ginger soup without the cream. We're using butternut squash. This is a winter squash. It's so delicious. I'm going to show you how to cut it. Again, you want to be careful because these can be hard, so you have to have a good grip on your knife. I'm going to take off the top, and I'm going to take off this, because in the bottom is all the seeds. See? And then I'll cut this in half, and then I'll start to peel it. Now, you can eat the skin on butternut squash, but for this soup, we don't want the skin. And I'm just taking off the skin and cutting it into large chunks. You don't have to make this small. Now, while I'm chopping this, I'm actually going to saute our onion. Now, you could use butter in this recipe. You know, a little bit of organic butter. Of course, it's best to find like a grass-fed cow because the butter is better. It has conjugated linoleic acid. Say that 20 times fast. Conjugated linoleic acid. But I'm using olive oil. You can use butter if you want. You can cut this in half and then just deseed with a spoon. And that's how you deseed it. So I'm going to take our squash and put it into the soup with the onion. I'm also putting in some ginger, some peeled ginger. And I'll put in about 4 or 5 cups of water. And bring this up to a boil. I'm going to put it on a very high flame. And I'll put in a little bit of sea salt. And then cover this for about 12 to 15 minutes or until that squash is really soft. And then when that squash is really soft, we're going to puree it in the food processor. Okay, it's time to finish my butternut squash soup. And I'm not taking out the liquid, I'm just taking out the vegetables. Okay, I'm going to put this into the food processor. I'm going to try and get some of it into the food processor. Okay, so I'm just going to pulse these vegetables. And you can see they're getting nice and creamy. And now I'll add a little bit of that liquid from the soup right in the top so it doesn't squirt out all over the place. Because if you put the whole thing in here, sometimes it'll come up too high. And here we have our creamy squash soup. This is like liquid gold. And I'm gonna garnish it with some pumpkin seeds. Look at how thick that is. And if you wanna thin this out a little bit, you could just add some water. But I like mine thick and creamy. And I'm gonna garnish it with some pumpkin seeds. And pumpkin seeds are rich in zinc and essential fatty acids. And there we have it. A creamy squash ginger soup. Delicious, absolutely.